Welcome to Mercury Retrograde. Now, if you already have your deck picked out, go ahead and click the timestamp below or the chapter to get there. But I'm going to take a minute to introduce us to Mercury Retrograde, and I'm going to share a little bit more about what each deck will reveal in our lives. Exclusive reading that I have created to help us understand the surprises that are coming at us so they don't feel so chaotic and confusing and destructive. And then we can make better choices with those things moving out of this period of time. It feels like things don't make sense a lot of times, or things just go wrong that normally do not. So don't try to figure it out. Just allow this time to slow down. Expect things not to go as expected, and don't make any big agreements. So now if you take a look here, you'll see that deck number 1 is going to tell us more about belief and our own life purpose. Deck number 2 is going to go into emotions around a sacred union. And deck number 3 is going to talk about our strength and inner alchemy. So choose your deck and then click on the timestamp below or the chapter to get there. Welcome to Mercury Retrograde. We are going to talk about surprises and choices. And the way that this is laid out, we're going to start down what is deep down underneath, and we go backwards kind of in time, come to where we are right now, and then where do we have choices? So it's kind of a chaotic backwards reflection. What's surprising us, what's coming in, and then what are we going to do first with let's talk about what is might surprise us most. We did not have a choice about this, but the area of our life that we're going to be reflecting on is going to be something kind of fresh material in our life. So a new foundation, or even a new financial partnership might be something that we're thinking about, a fresh career, or even a partnership in a career. It could have something to do with a person or you, but it's new, okay? And it's happening. It's real, and it's something that is time to focus on. Okay, for whatever reason, it has to do with believing in ourselves, coming into stable flow in our life purpose, and it has to do with either our foundation, our finances, security, or career. Advice on this: you are an I. Use this higher aspect of yourself to redeem your shadow aspect. So where we're doubting, okay, it's time to start believing in ourselves in a whole new way. And we didn't have a choice, but this is coming up now. And so are you ready to deal with it? Are you ready to embrace it and jump in and believe in yourself in a whole new way? So what are we going to have an opportunity to review at this time in this area of our lives? And it's going to have a lot to do with, the divine life purpose that we are serving and our inner knowing. And balancing that with what is the structure of our lives. What do we rely on? We are really going into something that has to do with an inner foundation, something that we're building, again, that is meant to be our central purpose of what we're meant to do here in this world. And the belief starts with one person only, you, me, you are an I. And knowing that, trusting that, and believing that on this journey. Don't be afraid to slow down, as this is when you can make real inner changes. And on that note, because this is what we're talking about, reflecting on, slowing down and reflecting on this inner understanding of ourselves or this situation, feeling it before acting into it and making sure things are right. And this deck, I actually flipped over the bottom card of the deck as an overall energy, and this Four of Swords has to do with understanding rest, kind of in that self-care way, a deep rest. So it could be a day, it could be a month, but you need to rest. I'm not telling you what that is, but you need to slow down in some sort of way to make the inner changes so you are no longer doubting your foundation or doubting what you're supposed to be doing, so you can invest in that for yourself. So now again, we're moving kind of backwards and around in order to come forward. This is what might shock us. As you get a bigger or a better idea in a more clear picture of what's going on and where this is in your life, then you'll come up here and you'll start to make the choices. You'll start to make real intentions with some clarity. So what are we going to see here when reflecting on this that we could not see the last time we were looking at this situation? We're going to see something all brand new. We may have seen something built up before us. That could have been someone else's empire or our own, but whatever that is no longer here. Something happened or is happening, and it was not made on a solid foundation, and it is crashing down around you or whatever circumstance that is. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because with this is the opportunity to start fresh. And it's the opportunity to, if we had a lot of responsibilities, it's kind of like when the kids move out of the house, or you downsize a home. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just based on your needs, and it's a fresh start. It's something different. Look at it that way, and do not be discouraged that it's not what you're used to. Create healthy boundaries with those around you. So whatever situation this may be, if there was toxicity that caused the crumbling down, note it. Note the red flags so you don't build something again on an unstable ground. No more house of cards. This time around, you're building up something fresh and new, and that's going to require you holding others accountable to have respect for you. If people lie to you or manipulate you, they do not respect you. And if you're feeling a lack of respect, or you're wondering why there are people who take advantage of you, that means that you need to note where boundaries need to take place in every relationship, so you can build a healthy foundation, a healthy home. I don't know where you may have toxic people in your life. We all do have to manage and deal with people who we'd rather not from time to time, but how close we let them into our lives is a choice of ours. They may not like a response if we choose to pull back, but that is not your problem. If someone is choosing actively not to respect you or to listen to you express your needs, then that may be someone you need to set boundaries with anyway. So, what may confuse us right now for a little bit, okay? So we have clarity here in the rubble almost. The space has cleared. That it was like something that you didn't even know where to start before, and now you have all these pieces and you get to put together a whole new puzzle. But not everything happens all at once. So if we are caught kind of in the past about this and comparing the new with the old, or feeling kind of drawn and pulled by those old relationships that don't necessarily honor us, whether again that's partnerships. The foundation could be your home space. A partnership could be at work. It just depends on where this resonates for you. But a sense of nostalgia, if we let people manipulate us with this sort of guilt because of previous relationships, it is going to pull us back into these old situations. So it may not be clear which people these are right now. These could be people from that you've known your whole life, and now it's going to start to make sense why the relationship felt the way that it did all along. you're not going to know in the next couple of weeks over the Mercury retrograde period, but this is your opportunity to break things down and to rebuild your perspective. Know thyself. It is the most important task you have. Okay? So in this moment, when you feel confused, own it, anchor into yourself. I'm hoping you have a little bit more clarity about what we're dealing with here in the situation, having to do with stable flow in your life purpose. I want you to think about what's going on during Mercury retrograde. It's nothing to be afraid of. We kind of move in reverse. Okay, Mercury is not actually moving in reverse. It's just got a different gravitational pull during this time period. And things go kind of haywire. It's just an energy in the air that has to do with our communication mostly. And it is an opportunity to notice things that we don't normally notice in our day-to-day lives when things move a little bit more smoothly. Allow me, divine, to move with the flow and respond with calmness and peace. So when these curveballs come our way, what do we do with them? All right, now we're in the place where we know what we're dealing with, or at least I hope that we have a better idea. Maybe this will come into clarity later on for you, but we are here now, and we are going to talk about what our intuition is telling us in the situation. So what is your intuition telling you about what's going on here? What's come back up from underneath the surface, from nowhere, that you are revisiting during Mercury retrograde, whether you like it or not? The Lovers. So this is divine partnership, one way or the other, no matter what kind of relationship this is, whether it's in your home or in your career. No, it doesn't matter. This is a divine partnership that we are learning from. Doubt is in the way. Okay, there is something in the way, and it's our own disbelief of ourselves. So intuition, trust in divine order. You are being helped. So again, the Lovers, just like the Hierophant, these are major arcana cards. Again, the Tower as well. We have a lot of divine support, a lot of divine situations are arising right now that might feel chaotic and confusing, but that's okay. You have choices here, and you are being supported. Your ultimate good and your best good for your partnerships and your life and your growth are being supported. So use your intuition and trust in what is being provided to you, as well as trust in yourself. So what we're ready to let go of. Again, now we're coming back around. We're turning things back around with our choices. We're making sense of the world again, writing this confusion, okay, from before. We weren't ready to take these steps before, but we are giving a divine push now to clarify these things for ourselves. Judgment, again, another major arcana card. We are being so divinely supported in this situation right now. This is for maybe not even just your good, but the good of many, because this is such a divinely supported situation that we're talking about. Practice speaking positively about other people and events, especially the future. Now, judgment, we're talking about judgment. I mean, this either can be you, it depends on how you want to see that. This could be like sort of karmic judgment coming down, law of attraction. You reap what you sow, and ultimately that is the truth. What we believe about ourselves is mirrored and projected out into the world. That could be what we're talking about, or it could literally be like kind of your own personal judgment moving forward. But again, divinely supported. Trust your gut on this. Okay, there's something about not in a fake way, But shifting your perspective about yourself, that's going to, with self-respect, that's going to also shift your perspective about other people, where you're able to stop like gossiping and treating other people with disrespect, because you respect yourself and you want others to respect you. So in turn, you respect them. You attract relationships or reconnect. That's what this next card is. What should we reconnect with? Okay, making choices. And we're gonna reconnect with things that are more in tune with us and that support us. Knight of Cups. This could be, again, a person. This is something fresh coming in and deeply heart-seated. It's going to mean a lot to you. Whatever is going on, the changes that are happening, make sure that you are making the choices that you want to see fulfilled down the road. With all of this support that you have, do not be afraid. Slow down until you're ready to make a clear choice, until you feel it clearly, see it clearly. Don't make the decisions during Mercury retrograde. This is the time to reflect and really kind of solidify and plan out and clarify things that we did not see before. Whatever is coming in is going to be right. It's going to feel right. Let me put it that way. Master the step you are on. So be here now. Let it come to you, and you'll feel it. You'll know it when it does. All right, now, what intentions should we set with this is a choice, okay? This is what we're deciding to anchor in. And what we anchor in is going to decide whether or not we end up with this foundation that is not something that we can trust, or we are building something and making real changes that we can trust in our lives this time around. Last time we may have made mistakes or have regrets, but not this time. The Wheel of Fortune. I cannot believe how divinely supported this is. You sat here and watched me deal this out, or at least I hope you did. And so really, the Wheel of Fortune is everything turning around. It's all about you and what you choose to do, okay? What you choose to do with what comes up and what shocks you, the way that you choose to handle that. If you choose to handle whatever comes at you with calmness and peace, self-respect, okay? And you treat others with respect, even when they don't deserve it, even when you feel like being petty. You treat others with humanity and understand that we are all we are all the lowest versions of ourselves sometimes. You make the shift first, and others will follow. Everything will follow. Distinguish the importance of your inner spiritual work from outer success. So do not weigh your shifts based on what you see before you and with the people directly in front of you, unless you know that they are deeply satisfied. Because whatever you anchor in is exactly what you're going to build your foundation on. Do you want it all to fall down again, or do you want to build something that is lasting? You have so much support. You have so many options here. Trust yourself. Communicate that differently and openly, and you will start to see everything shift in your life in the direction that you find and feel most satisfying. Here's our very last message. Thank you so much for being here. I'm honored. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like this video, and share this with your friends. Play. I am completely engaged in what I do. In here and now, I call it play instead of work. I am deeply fulfilled by all that I do. And right here, this is exactly what it just said. Distinguish the importance of your inner spiritual work, but instead of work, you call it play. And you are deeply fulfilled in all that you do. Shift your perspective. Be a little bit more playful with yourself. Slow down a little bit until you can clarify things. Don't make any rash decisions. The universe wants what you want. So be clear and go for it. Welcome to Mercury Retrograde. We are going to talk about surprises and choices. And the way that this is laid out, what is deep down underneath, and we go backwards kind of in time, come to where we are right now, and then where do we have choices? So it's kind of a chaotic backwards reflection. What's surprising us, what's coming in, and then what are we gonna do with it? And we're gonna get a little bit of clarity. This has to do with our emotions and the sacred union and everything coming full circle for us right now. That is what the wheel represents, a complete 180 in this situation. So with that, let's see what area of our life we're going to be digging into. So let's start with the surprises, what is coming up and which area of our lives we will be reflecting on. This is the center of what's coming up and maybe confusing us right now. So as we take a look at the cards that are coming up, starting with this is the center and the area of our life, and things will start to become more clear about our emotions centering around the sacred union. We're going to start with the Prince of Wands, and that means that this is going to have to do with our creative life or our passion. This is something fresh, and it may not be completely manifest in our life yet. We may have a sense of ourself in this area, but maybe it's not something that we really have a place for or have not quite developed yet. So this could be a really cool area of our life to dig into, lean into, and discover what we really want and how creativity and following our own passions and the things that ignite our curiosity can help bring us healing. See yourself as you would a friend. Be objective about it. So really consider just allowing yourself to be in this space, whatever it brings. Don't judge yourself for creating space and bringing about a place for you. There should be a place for you here. And once you anchor that in, it may connect you more deeply to the relationships that are meant to be in your life. So now, what are we going to have an opportunity to review in this area of our lives? It's really important to have perspective, and that is what the Hangman is all about. Shifting perspective. We have to see something differently. And is that something that has to do with our core self? Are we honoring our core self? Will honoring who we authentically are bring new people and relationships into our lives? Or seeing ourselves even differently in our place in our own life, will that also bring a new understanding of what we are shifting here? The wheel is very similar and reflective of this as well, because it is about taking a rest almost, so you can have that complete shift. Know thyself. It is the most important task you have. So it really has so much to do with the self, the inner self, and shifting our perspective of maybe our place in our own life or how seriously we take our own interests. So we kind of get knocked off our feet a little bit, so we get to see things in a different way. What are we going to be able to see more clearly because of these surprises coming up that we could not see the last time? The divinely supported sense of self. The mirror that we reflect out into the world is based on how we see ourselves. So this is another major arcana card, just like we saw with the Hangman. These are signs of universal support. Basically, like, this is the life plan. So we're talking about a sacred union. We're talking about a divine plan in your life. And believing that there are these partners out there that suit you and fit you. But if you don't have space for those because you are pretending to be something that you're not on your own, if you're not the same person out there in front of them as you are within yourself, it doesn't mean exactly like you express yourself differently, right, in different relationships. But if you at your soul level know that you are not honoring who you are, that is going to be reflective in who we are in relationship with. And so we have to be very mindful of that we are responsible for slowing down so we can create the real inner changes is more about confidence in creating space for yourself, seeing yourself as what you deserve in other people and mirroring that out with your own authenticity. And then you'll have place for those relationships. So allow that to be clear now. Step into that. Now, just because we're gaining a sense of clarity does not mean that we won't leave this Mercury retrograde period with questions. So let's figure out where we might still be confused so we can allow ourselves a little bit more space and compassion in that area of our lives. So we're really gaining a sense of self here. This is the confidence to stand on our own 2 feet. Okay, to trust that we know who we are and what we are working with. Okay, this is standing up for ourselves, and we may need a little bit of time to figure out how to do that in these relationships. And when we do start to put boundaries in place, noticing how other people react to us and basing our relationships on that. Mastering the step we are on is all about owning it, self-respect, and being present in this place right now, in the process. Don't jump ahead. Stand here and get a sense of self before we hop forward into this present moment and start making choices, because we want to make choices from the place of knowing exactly who we are. This gives us a really unique opportunity to come into the present with a deeper sense of not only ourselves, but the relationships we have in our lives. Once here on earth for enough lifetimes, your old soul will begin to long for the non-grasping detachment and surrender. They bring the peace of God. So allowing the relationships to ebb and flow and allowing those boundaries to dictate very clearly who deserves our best attention. It is such a important new skill to be bringing into the present moment of our lives, and especially qualifying the respect and the level of respect that we expect in our relationships because we have respect for ourselves. As we come into the present moment, I hope you have a clearer picture of what is going on here for you, and it's time to make some choices. So here we are, and we want to know what our intuition is telling us about the situation. And it just clearly tells me to trust what is fueling that passion and creativity for you. What is it and where does it take you? Follow it. Follow the ignition of whatever it is that feels right to you. Take a step towards it, because whatever your gut is telling you about this, if it feels good and in the long term, looking in hindsight and noticing what you did before in this situation, if you see that this is a 180 from what you did last time you were given the opportunity, you are the light. In your life, you are the path. You are the one who decides what every one of your relationships is going to feel like. And if it doesn't feel good, trust that. You are an I. Use this higher aspect of yourself to redeem your shadow aspects. And what that means is that there's something that either needs to be repaired within the relationship, within that person, or within yourself. Decide why you keep certain relationships around. Let this be clear and let your self-respect illuminate this time for you. The people who fuel that fire and ignite you, let them come closest for a while and see how that feels. Let those who attempt to dampen your flame and who make life feel a little bit heavy and darker, let them float away naturally with your boundaries. Be a little bit stronger about creating space from that, and let yourself decide how this feels. This could create so much clarity for you going forward, which is going to be so necessary because we are now ready to let go of that old stagnant energy, and so we can plant something new. It is that space, that old plot of land that was used for nothing before, and now we have a vision for it. That's what we're doing with our lives. And that old plot of land is our heart and our mind and the relationships that we allow to penetrate, the opinions that matter to us. We're going to plant something new, our own confidence and our own vision for our lives. Take 5 minutes or more to concentrate on a divine feeling or higher thought, doing your best to block out all other distractions. And that's what we want to anchor into in these relationships, the divine feeling of connection. It will be different in every single type of relationship we have, but it should honor us every single time. Anchor that in and plant that now. So why do we let go? We let go because things become stagnant when we try to hold on too tight. So when we do create this space by letting go, sometimes we have new room to reconnect with things that didn't quite hit the right timing before. And we see now that it may be time to come into our own. I don't know if I've mentioned this quite enough yet, but we are so divinely supported right now. And the same thing was coming up in deck number 1, where all these major arcana cards really represent the cosmic plan for our life. You chose this coming in. You wanted to experience certain things and grow in certain ways. So honor yourself. Do that so you can deepen yourself to respect and honor the relationships that are coming in to meet you, to match you. Believe it, that you are projecting out and mirroring back what you need to heal, so you can honor everybody in your life. And that's including yourself. Practice speaking positively about other people and events, and especially the future, is exactly what we need to do to keep our focus. If you believe in the law of attraction, or if you've ever looked into that at all, you start to see that it's not as much about being good as believing in yourself and being true to who you are. The more fear that you hold and the more you allow doubt to control your life, the less satisfied you will be. So in order to honor yourself, honor your relationships, be who you are, and believe that wonderful things are coming to you based on how worthy you see yourself to be. And that starts with self-responsibility and self-respect. Now, with everything that we've learned and all the clarity that we've gained, these are all choices. What intentions do we set with all this? This is about what we are planting into the future. What do we want to deepen, and what relationships are we looking to bring in? As we wrap this up, our cosmic advice is so clear that we are loved and supported on every aspect, that we are light. And if we follow our passion that is in our heart instead of the doubt that is in our minds or coming out of the mouths of others, that we will be honored by the universe. So test it out. Go for it and see what it brings. A 180 in your life. Is it time for this? Is it time for you to create space for yourself? And what comes from this is like this sense of balance that you've been craving your whole life. It's foundation, and it's real, but it's based on what's in your heart. Your belief that you deserve more, that you deserve a life that is more than maybe you were given, and stability and security That comes from standing on your own 2 feet. No matter what you feel like has always swept the rug out from underneath you, you are here to grow, to try something new, and to believe in yourself. So do it. Believe that you can create the stability that someone else maybe took away from you. This is your life, and you have the power. That you have self-respect, that you have the cosmic love of the universe, and that as you now move through the world, you can project that beauty, that light from within you outwards to enlarge your appreciation of the beauty of nature, animals, and humans. Just the nature of what's around you, the more at peace you are within yourself, the more stable and secure you feel just walking through the world. This is that confidence, that deep inner knowing that the foundation that you have set is one that is lasting. You know that stability is within you. The more in love with yourself that you are, the more in love you will be with all that you encounter. The more you will trust yourself and your boundaries. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, would you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends? We have come to our final message. We are learning to trust ourselves in all areas and see ourselves differently so we can deepen these sacred partnerships in our lives. I realize that subconscious beliefs or programs may be holding me back from my desires. For example, if I want money, I may have been told things growing up that I am subconsciously holding on to. So I go back to my past and release beliefs that no longer align, substituting them with ones that do. It is the opportunity at our fingertips right now with Mercury Retrograde. Old things being presented to us so we can tie them up once and for all, let go or reconnect, and move forward in the healthiest way possible as our authentic selves. Welcome to Mercury Retrograde. We are going to talk about surprises and choices. And the way that this is laid out, we're going to start down what is deep down underneath, and we go backwards kind of in time, come to where we are right now, and then where do we have choices? So it's kind of a chaotic backwards reflection. What's surprising us, what's coming in, and then what are we going to do with our strength and inner alchemy? We have decisions to make, very clear decisions, maybe a crossroads or a fork in the road. And so we're going to start with which area of life we're going to be reflecting on, because we didn't really have a choice in this. It's just what's coming up for us at this time. We're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. So why not have clarity so we can feel empowered to make choices? So we're going to move around kind of what's coming back for us. And then we move into the present and kind of clear things up with our choices moving forward. Right now, what will we be reflecting on? Temperance. So this is Major Arcana card. This is divine support. And every single deck has been showing that this Mercury retrograde period is for our best good. This is for our growth. Whatever is breaking down right now is for our long-term satisfaction. I've seen it in every single deck so far. The divine support is what that means. So what we're doing here is creating something within us, or accessing, let's put it that way. We're accessing something within us, a deep sense of balance that maybe we have not yet experienced. It's like a deep inner security, and it's coming from the inside. Or even like the cosmos, the external, like the vast external faith that you have, whatever you have that in. Know that the truth is a living force, whether you believe in it or not. Okay, so that sense of balance is a living force within you. No matter what you do, this is coming around. So let's not be shocked by it. We have choices to make. What is going to create a divine sense of balance in your life? It's a living force that's going to ebb and flow. okay? So don't expect it to be the same all the time. Learn to trust yourself. What will we have an opportunity to review in this area of our lives? The king or the muse of voices. This is like our mind and our thoughts. Again, our communication. It matches up with Mercury and Gemini because it's air. And so we're maybe learning how to master our own self-expression or master our mind with things like anxieties and self-doubt. Let love be your motivation for action. Okay, so whatever we are giving, the energy that we're putting out, and that's what we're talking about with balance, the energy that we are giving out to others and we're putting into the world, let us make sure that it's motivated by love, that it's not motivated by guilt or obligation that no longer feels like a loving action. Let us not become bitter. Okay, we need to start to master a sense of, like, again, our own energy. We have to create boundaries. That we have to do, and this could have to do with boundaries as well. Inner alchemy is going to come from having some space and some perspective, because we can't have that when we are living through the scope of someone else. Someone else is telling us what to think and what to do or how to believe. And we're never able to test that out for ourselves. It's very difficult to experience what that actually feels like. Okay, our own inner strength. When someone always picks us up, we don't learn to stand on our own 2 feet. Okay, so what will we see now that we could not see before Mercury retrograde? Again, our strength. Okay, we're gonna see in action. Double, okay? Another major arcana card. We're going to see who we are and what we are made of. And it is okay. It is okay that things have to break down. It is okay that things are confusing. Okay? We're going to be able to see, foster patience with time, with a little bit of space, slowing down, again, giving ourselves more room for mistakes to take place, let things fall apart a little bit. Where they're normally so put together, it kind of, like when you move a piece of furniture and you find all the garbage is underneath, something like that. It's kind of like moving things around and finding perspective that we have not had before, deep cleaning, and what might be confusing though, what might remain confusing for a little while as this comes up, maybe how quickly things are moving. It may feel like things are moving really fast or not fast enough. Create healthy boundaries with those around you. So don't rush it. Don't rush this. Whatever this is, and mentioned boundaries once already, don't rush it. Don't push through that to try to get to the harmonious part, okay? You can't ignore certain things, okay? If they are harmful, disrespectful, manipulative, you feel it in your gut when something's not your own choice. It's time to start just recognizing that. It's not necessarily about constantly going out and confronting it, but it might feel a little confusing. Things, again, feel like they're moving a little bit slower or faster. Maybe people just leave your life is when you create a boundary, and that's bewildering to you, because you can't imagine that person was taking advantage of your kindness. And then when you decide not to be giving that, overgiving that particular thing anymore, they remove themselves from your life, and it hurts. It can hurt. It can be very painful. But here we are in the present, and that might be confusing, but we're seeing things. We're feeling this own inner strength, this inner alchemy that comes from standing on our own feet, and we are going to be allowing radical acceptance, okay, into our lives. Radical acceptance says yes to reality in any given moment, so what's needed can come next. So say yes to reality. Say yes to being here now, whatever's going on here, because it's important. It's important. Growth, that you're having. The breaking down maybe doesn't feel fun, but it's a necessary space. There's something, whatever's going on is a necessary reality that is being maybe forced. So now is the time when we want to make choices, okay? We talk about that, and boundaries can be very firm. This is air again, swords, and it has to do with decisive, okay? Decisive choices. We have to be decisive, especially with boundaries. If our boundaries are soft with people who need them to be very specific and firm, then that doesn't do either one of us good, okay? If our boundaries are too harsh with people who have not earned such a scrutiny, that's going to be hard on your relationship. Use your own discernment and make these choices specific to every single relationship so you don't reactively harm relationships, okay? So what is our intuition telling us about this situation? That we can trust ourselves, that we can stand up for ourselves, we can stand our ground. It does not have to be an anxious experience because, again, divinely supported on so many fronts. Divinely supported, yes, shocking, surprising. We didn't choose this path. We wouldn't have brought this up I wouldn't have brought up this uncomfortable stuff right now. What would be the point of that? We would never do that for ourselves. Nothing. We wouldn't deal with anything if we didn't have to. Okay? If there wasn't a wound, we wouldn't heal it. We wouldn't do the work. So consider that. Okay? Building up confidence in yourself and this inner strength comes from standing on your own 2 feet with confidence. You have to take a step the first time. You have to stand up for yourself the first time. You have to do those things, okay? Take 5 or more minutes to concentrate on a divine feeling or higher thought, doing your best to block out all other distractions. And what I want you to think about here is this is a divine feeling. A divine feeling is this sense of inner peace, of knowing what that's this allowing, this radical acceptance, saying yes to reality in any given moment. So what's needed can come next. That's this peace with knowing that the next step is coming one way or the other. And that's what we're doing right now. Bring clarity to the divine feeling that you want to experience, what is satisfying to you, okay? And trust that intuition, trust that clarity, because it comes from inside of you, and that's where the balance comes from. Make those choices for you, okay? What are we ready to let go of now? Because we're gaining this clarity, okay? Or even maybe feeling a little bit of confusion, maybe not yet, but what are we gonna just feel like, is gonna feel like a weight lifted off of us? This looking back, we're gonna stop looking at what's not in our cup and comparing to other people, trying to be like someone else. We're gonna start to look at what we have versus what is out of our reach. We're gonna look at the gifts at our fingertips rather than coveting something that does not belong to us yet or ever, maybe. Okay, let's look at what we have and be appreciative of it so we can live a satisfied life from the spirit. You are an eye. Use this higher aspect of yourself to redeem your shadow aspects. Stop doubting that because you're not notable on some social media or some level of attention that society might call important, or you might look at and think that you want that attention or that validation. That has nothing to do with you. What you're doing, regardless of the attention that it garners from the outside, is impacting the right people. So make sure that you're using your intentions from your authentic spirit. Okay? What should we reconnect with? We're going to trust this now. What are we reconnecting with? The Hanged Muse or the Hanged Man, again, major arcana all the way through the middle and the core of this. Every deck was full of divine support like this. And this is really reconnecting to a sense of patience or a sense of self that maybe is different than what the way that we've been looking at ourselves for a long time. We're going to shift that. Okay, we've been looking at the world one way or ourselves a certain way, and we're going to shift what that is and find a more satisfying viewpoint for ourselves personally. Make gentleness a habit. So not forcing that perspective, okay? Letting ourselves kind of allowing ourselves to experience that inner alchemy, letting it happen where it feels right, it feels nice, it feels soft, it feels like it's supposed to be happening. You can trust it. It is that divine feeling of confidence and strength and balance. You know what it is. It's not there every second. There's doubt, but that's not you. You be kind to yourself and you'll be more kind to others. You'll be kinder in the world. What intentions should I set? The star, there's a miracle in action. The intentions, we need to set our intentions big. Shoot for the stars. Look out to the cosmos and imagine anything is possible. Whatever you believe in your heart, whatever you want, even if you've been told 1,000 times it's not real and not possible, whatever would fulfill you is what's right for you. You may not have it now. You may not have it in the form that you picture it, but the feeling of it, that feeling you get when you imagine that thing, that paradise, that is yours to have. It's yours for the taking. And if you can find that feeling in a less than satisfying environment, there is nowhere that you can't go. There is nothing you can't conquer, no paradise that you will not have at your fingertips. Devote yourself to discovering the highest truths, and the highest truths are going to tell you that sense of inner satisfaction comes from you, from the inside, and that is where you are meant to be, where you are meant to focus, where you are meant to draw this power from. You can have a sense of faith on the outside of you, but ultimately, if you do not trust yourself, you're going to have a very hard time connecting to that faith and that outside source with a sense of power and love instead of a sense of fear. You will call out to that source when you are scared rather than when you are calling on appreciation. And it's a very, very important distinction to make when we're talking about inner alchemy. Now, this is going to be our final message for deck number 3. I appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this, would you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this with your friends? Food, my favorite. What I eat fuels me. I eat the best foods accessible to me. I infuse my food with love and gratitude before eating. Visualizing the nutrients I am consuming and the love that went into growing and preparing this food. So if you can have appreciation for the smallest things, okay, start shifting your sense of satisfaction to something small like food. The way that you view it, every bite, every morsel. The way that you treat your body in regards to food, how you feed yourself and honor your hunger signals, okay? It is a very individual experience, but if you can appreciate and love yourself, your body, your food, and you can see and appreciate the nourishment, okay, and how you move and everything about yourself, there is a whole shift that comes to your body, your life. So find it in the small, and you'll feel it all around you before you know it. Thank you so much for being here.